Welcome everybody, this is documentary editing using Adobe Premiere Pro 2023. My name is Professor Plow and I'll be walking you through a multi-video series on how to put together a short documentary in the editing process. If you open up Adobe Premiere Pro, it takes you to a new project landing page where you can name your project. And I'm going to go ahead and name this Donation Station. And we're also going to give it a location. Wherever you choose your location is up to you. Just as long as you know where that is and that it is safe and possibly backed up to an external drive, a thumb drive, or the cloud. Okay, once we've named it and we have our location for that, we're going to go ahead and create that project. We have an empty interface here for Adobe Premiere Pro, and we have 5 main panels. We have our project panel, which is going to be in the lower left-hand side. And note we are in the basic editing tab. This gives us our basic editing window arrangement. We have our source monitor here. This is where we can see raw footage played back. Our program monitor, this is where we can see edited footage played back. And this is where our sequences will go. Finally, we have our toolbox here. These are our tools that we use for different editing functions, and we'll cover some of those as well. Okay, the next part of the process is to import, and I have jumped ahead and imported some footage to show you what that would look like, but I am going to repeat the import process for you to show you how I did that. Simply, the import process is to highlight the project panel, come up here to File, Import, or Command-I, and it brings up a Finder window where we are able to locate and select the footage that we need to bring into Premiere Pro. I'm going to cancel this for now. I'm going to show you what I did here. I created a couple of folders, and to do that, I simply go down here in the lower right of the project panel and New Bin, and then I would name that bin. So I'll name this. And I created a bin for the Donation Station. That is the title of my project. And just to give you a little bit of context, Donation Station is a program run by community food initiatives in Athens County, Ohio, attempting to bring fresh local food grown by local farmers to food pantries, nonprofits, and community kitchens in Athens County. So I did a little promo video for them and put that together as a short documentary. And we'll be using that footage to illustrate the process here today. Now, once I created that bin, I am able to highlight that bin, hit Command-I or File, Import, and then I'm able to go and locate the footage and bring it right into that bin. Now, if there is a clip that I did import and I put it in a different bin, I'm able to create as many bins as I want. I can click, hold, and drag and move that clip to a different bin if I would like to. So I'm going to move on ahead here. I might time-lapse this so it goes pretty fast, but I'm going to go ahead and import all of the footage that I need, and I'm also going to organize this media once it's imported into Premiere using bins. Okay, so now in my Donation Station folder, which I designated, and I'm using this project for some other community food initiatives projects as well, so we'll go ahead and ignore the Yeah Kids folder for now. That's a different video, but related to community food initiatives. So I've created a separate bin for Donation Station, and again I do that by hovering down here to the New Bin button in the lower right of the project panel. I can also come here to New and Bin, and it gives me the opportunity to title that whichever way I would want. Say I'm going to give myself a new bin for sequences. So when I create some editing sequences, they'll have their own special bin. I might create another one, call this Music. And the idea here, creating bins within bins, is just media and asset organization. So if I have lots of B-roll that I'm using, if I have an interview that I'm using, if I have action sequences of my participants doing active things, and I'll call them natural breaks or nat breaks, I'm going to have a couple of bins for that. And then of course a sequence bin. I don't have anything in there yet. But you can see that I've imported lots of media and then I've organized it using a bin structure. The next step is to go ahead and create a sequence that we will be using to edit this material in. And to do that, I'm going to highlight my sequence bin, and then I'm going to come down here, come up here to File, New, and Sequence. And it's going to ask me what sequence settings I would like. And I'm going to create a sequence setting that matches the footage that I'm using in my project. So I'm going to choose digital SLR or DSLR, 1080p and 1080p 24. If you are confused about what project setting to use, please go back and refer to some of your footage. Your footage in the project panel. You can see it gives you the information about that footage. You can see my interview was shot at 1920 by 1080 at 24 frames per second. So I feel very comfortable choosing digital SLR 1080p 24 frames per second. It really has to do with the video settings that you used to shoot your project in. And then I'm going to give it a name here. I'm just going to call this donation station. And we'll give it an 01 number. In case I create another sequence, I can have a naming convention or numbering convention there for different versions. Click OK and it automatically populates the timeline or sequence window with that sequence. And you see that it also a little icon here stored safely in my sequences bin. Now anytime you create a new sequence in Premiere, it's going to give you 3 video tracks and 3 audio tracks. And you see this gray band that's a little bit thicker than the others. That's the dividing line between audio and video. Anytime we bring a clip into Premiere, it's going to separate out its audio and video. They can move and travel together if they are synchronized, but it will show us both, and we have the ability to edit either independently. All right, now that our project is all set up and ready to go, we are ready to move on to the next video where we'll be taking the first steps in assembling our documentary.